Hello booktube, hello book friends, welcome back to my channel and another video. And today I want to talk about October and what I might read during that month. October, obviously the month of Halloween, so I've got a couple of potentially spooky picks. I've got a buddy group read and a couple of other things where I'm kind of thinking ahead for upcoming reading events, and also some releases that are happening later in the month of October. So let's get started. Let's talk about the buddy read first. So hoping to read, or I know I'm going to read, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, with Pat, a book chat with Pat Lecton at Reading from the Depths, and Mary Andrea from Books and Bookadillos. We're planning on reading this kind of in the first half of the month. At the moment, what we've set for ourselves is a fairly leisurely pace, but I think we'll see how that goes. I know from kind of reading Andy Weir's The Martian, although that's quite a chunky book, it reads quite quickly. This is about somewhere between 350 and 400 pages, so I think it'll read fairly quickly. So that, as I say, first half of the month. And then I'm also thinking about, in terms of kind of spooky books, earlier in the year I read Bram Stoker's Dracula for the first time. So I'm thinking of reading a bit more Bram Stoker, and I have a copy of Dracula's Guest and Other Weird Stories, which I think has got Lair of the White Worm in it, amongst other things. So thinking of having that as one of my kind of spooky reads. And then I also have Susan Hill's The Woman in Black, which I think might go quite well for an October read as well. Thinking ahead to books that are coming out later in the month, hopefully there is a new sharp novel by Bernard Cornwell coming out towards the end of the month that's been delayed at least once already. So I've not heard anything to the contrary, and checking my pre-order, it looks as if it's still due by the end of the month, but we'll wait and see. There's also a new Frederick Forsyth novel. This is the kind of last novel that was written or co-written by him, and is being published posthumously, but it is a sequel to the Odessa file, and I was going to try and read this in September, and as you can see, didn't get very far. So I want to try and read this before the new novel comes out, so that I can kind of read, because I read this when I was a teenager, and I really don't remember. I know the basic plot, but that's all I remember. So I want to try and reread this before the new novel comes out. So yeah, that's another potential possibility for October. And then finally, again, another reread in anticipation of a reading event that's happening in January, February and March next year, which is a group read along of the three books that make up the Lord of the Rings series by J.R.R. Tolkien, which is being led by Emily at AlansReads, and I'll link to her video about that down below. And what I wanted to try and do before January was reread The Hobbit, which obviously precedes the the story of the Lord of the Rings, and I'm not sure I certainly haven't got the time in December to reread this, because of Dickens at Christmas and other things that are happening. So I'm thinking I will try and reread this either in October or November, depending on how things go. But yeah, that is a reread ahead of that bigger, longer read of the Lord of the Rings. And that's kind of my starting point. Obviously, depending on how the month goes, there'll be other books, I suspect. But those are kind of the ones just for me to think about at the beginning of October anyway. So what are you planning on reading in October? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have been, thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.